So with this, we start off with the first article of the day that appeared in page 21 of the Indian Express newspaper. Now this article highlights that the Security Exchange Board of India, it has proposed to cut the face value of non-convertible debentures from rupees 1 lakh to rupees 10,000. Now why it wants to cut the face value of these bonds? It is because cutting the face value will further or facilitate the liquidity of these bonds, especially with the retail investors. Now let us look what are bonds. Now bond are a type of debt instrument. For example, a company issues rupees 100 bond. Hence this 100 rupees is the face value of the bond. Now naturally this is a debt instrument. So any buyer will expect a positive rate of return. So hypothetically this bond, it provides for 5% of return annually. Hence this is the rate of return of a particular bond. Now primarily there are three types of bonds. The first, it is known as a convertible bond. Now every bond, it has an option that this 100 rupees face value is the principal amount, whereas this 5% is the annual rate of return. However, in case of convertible bonds, when the maturity period of these bond ends, the bondholders, they have an option whether to get this principal amount back or to convert this bond into a form of equity. Now naturally, the bond has a fixed amount of face value. However, when a bondholder converts this bond into a form of equity, so the rate of return might increase or reduce as per the value of a company's share. Hence, this is a form of attraction of these convertible bonds. So naturally, these bonds, they offer somewhat lower rate of return of bonds. Now the second type of bond, it is known as non-convertible bond. And as the name suggests, these are non-convertible in nature. Hence, you cannot get the equity out of these bonds, and upon the maturity of these bonds, the principal amount is returned back to the bondholder. Now the third type of a bond, it is known as perpetual bond. And in this type of a bond, the principal amount is never returned to the bondholder. Instead, the bondholder, he gets the coupon repayments, which are a form of rate of returns, along the entire time, which means perpetuity of the bond. Hence, these bonds, they do not return the principal amount to the bondholders. For example, you must have heard a 81 type of bonds. These are both convertible as well as perpetual in nature. Now let us understand this concept with the help of a model question. And why are we asking this particular model question? Because UPSC, it has asked question related to inflation index bond back in the year 2022. So let us deal with the model question which asks us to consider the following statements. The first statement, convertible bond, they offer higher interest rate as compared to conventional bonds. Now, as I've already told, these convertible bond, they come up with an attraction that the bondholders, they can convert these bonds into equity. Hence, these bonds, they offer somewhat lower rate of return when you compare them with other bonds. Hence, the first statement which suggests higher rate of interest is incorrect. Thereby, first statement itself is incorrect. Now, the second statement, principal amount is never paid back to the investors of perpetual bond, which again I've highlighted is a correct statement because principal amount is never given back to the perpetual bondholders, whereas they are eligible to get coupon repayments, which are a form of rate of return. Hence, second statement here is correct. Hereby, the correct answer to this question is option B. Whereas the PYQ of 2022 is concerned, here the correct option was answer A. Now let us move to the second article of the day, which appeared on page 10 of the Hindu newspaper. Now this article, it reports that the FSB, which is the Financial Stability Board, it has released a report on crypto asset intermediaries in order to enhance the cross-border cooperation and information sharing regarding these intermediaries. Now, why are we dealing with this particular topic? It is because UPSC in GS Paper 2 highlights global groupings and agreements which involve or affect India's interest. Now, what is this Financial Stability Board? Now, this Financial Stability Board, it was established back in the year of 2009 and it was established in G20's meeting that year, which was held in Pittsburgh, USA. Now, this body, it promotes international financial stability through increased coordination between both national financial authorities as well as international standard setting bodies. Hence, these two types of agencies, they work towards developing a strong regulatory, supervisory and other financial sector policies. Now, what are the membership of this Financial Stability Board? Now, all the members of G20, they are also the member of this Financial Stability Board. And this Financial Stability Board, it is hosted and funded by Bank of International Settlement, which is located in Basel city of Switzerland. Now let us deal with the practice question. And why are we asking this particular practice question? Because UPSC in the year 2022 itself, it asked questions regarding rapid financing instrument as well as rapid credit facility which are introduced by International Monetary Fund. Now let us deal with the model question. With reference to Financial Stability Board, consider the following statements. The first statement, it was established in the year 2009 at G20's Pittsburgh Summit and as a successor to Financial Stability Forum, which we know from this discussion is a correct statement. Hence, statement 1 is correct. Now, the second statement, it says that the Financial Stability Board, it has launched extractive-led local economic diversification program in collaboration with United Nations Economic and Social Council. Now, this particular social council, it was introduced by World Bank and not Financial Stability Board. Hence, this second statement is incorrect. Now, the third statement, it says that the FSB, it is hosted and funded by the International Monetary Fund, which we know from our discussion is an incorrect statement because it is hosted and funded by Bank of International Settlement, which is located in Basel, Switzerland. Hence, how many of the above statement is or are correct? From this above discussion, we can conclude that only statement 1 is correct. Hence, option A was the right answer. Now, let us move to the third article of the day, which appeared in page 9 of the Indian Express. Now, 9 countries, they have come together to form a Global River City Alliance. And this alliance is inspired by India's River City Alliance, which was launched last year. Now, this Global River City Alliance, as I've already highlighted, is modeled on India's River City Alliance. And the Secretariat of GRCA is hosted by National Mission for Clean Ganga, which comes under Ministry of Jal Shakti, as well as National Institute for Urban Affairs, which comes under Ministry of Urban Affairs. Now, there are 9 nations who have come together to form this alliance, which are these nations. Now, what are the focus area of this alliance? This alliance, it focuses on capacity building and knowledge exchange between these countries in order to manage the rivers in a more integrated manner. Further, this body or this alliance, it aims to increase the collaboration between these countries in order to undertake water monitoring, share of best practices in which are related to urban areas and their rivers. Hence, you can say that this body, it aims to fulfill the sustainable river management. Now, let us understand this topic with the help of a model question. Now, why are we asking or why have we curated this particular model question? It is because UPSC in the year 2017, it asked a question related to Global Climate Change Alliance. Hence, let us understand this model question. Now, it is an initiative of United Nations Environment Program, which we know for sure is incorrect because this initiative was introduced by National Mission for Clean Ganga. Now, the second statement, it says that the GRCA, it focuses on capacity building, knowledge exchange in integrated river management to address climate change impacts on ecosystem. Now, this statement is correct because this particular body, it focuses on climate change and it wants to increase the capacity building of nations in order to undertake integrated river management. Now, the third statement, it says that the World Bank, it hosts the secretariat of GRCA, which we know again is an incorrect statement because the secretariat, it is hosted by National Mission for Clean Ganga and National Institute for Urban Affairs. Hence, only one statement is correct, thereby option A again is the correct answer. Whereas the PYQ is concerned, here also option A was the right answer. Now let us move to the fourth prelims related article which appeared in page 10 of the Hindu newspaper. Now in this article, we witness that the Bihar government has approved two bills which wants to increase the reservation in jobs and education in the state for up to 75% of seats. And this bill, it has sparked the debate around what is the permissible limit of providing reservations in India. Now the issue of how much reservation should be provided, it was first dealt with by the Supreme Court of India in the M.R. Balaji others versus State of Mysore case, and this was in the year of 1963. Now in this particular case, the Supreme Court highlighted that the reservation, it should have a 50% limit, because if we want to cross this limit, it will infringe on the rights of non-reserved persons. Hence, any reservation, it should have a reasonable and legitimate reservation. And this issue again was dealt by Supreme Court in the Indira Sani judgment versus Union of India case. And this judgment, it overheard the case related to reservations for the other backward classes. And in this particular judgment, the Supreme Court, it upheld the increase of reservation of 27%, which was provided to the members of other backward classes. However, also Supreme Court, it capped the reservation up to 50%. Hence, it invalidated the extra 10% reservation which was provided to the economically weaker section. However, the Government of India, it brought 103rd Amendment Act of the Indian Constitution. And this Amendment Act, it provided 10% of reservation for economically weaker section. And this particular amendment, it was upheld by the Supreme Court in the Janhit Abhiyan versus Union of India case, which was in the year of 2022. Hence, the Supreme Court, it highlights that the reservation, it can go beyond 50% in order to provide reservation for the economically weaker section. Also, there are many states in the country, for example, Chhattisgarh, Tamil Nadu, as well as many northeastern states who are providing more than 50% of reservation. For example, Chhattisgarh provides 72% of reservation, whereas on the other hand, Tamil Nadu, it provides 69% of reservation. Hence, you can see the limit of reservation in India, it has already exceeded that of 50%. Now, let us deal with the model question. And why are we asking this particular model question? Because UPSC in this year itself, it asks questions related to reservation under Article 16, subsection 4. Now, let us consider the following statements. The first statement, in any case, reservation for all communities, it cannot exceed the 50% benchmark. Now, we know for sure the reservation in India, it has already exceeded 50% with that of 10% of reservation for economically weaker section. Hence, this first statement is incorrect. Now, the second statement, it says that the reservations, they are provided to ensure proportionate representation. Again, this term, that is proportionate representation, is incorrect. Because as you know, in even in the Mandal Commission report, it was highlighted that the percentage of other backward classes, their population is more than 50%. However, the I'm sorry, the reservation that was provided for these other backward classes were only 27%. Hence, the reservation, it wanted to ensure adequate and not proportionate representation. Hence, the second statement also is incorrect. Now, how many of the above statement is or are correct? Here, the correct answer as per the discussion is option D. Whereas the answer to this PYQ is concerned, here option C was the correct answer.